Welcome back to the Talk Tonight. We continue our discussion on voting as Central New Yorkers head to the polls today. 3 hours remain until our polls close here locally, and the results start pouring in. Now, in the past, when a presidential election is going on that year, well, the turnout seems to be much higher. Sure. So did you head out to vote today? We continue our conversation with Bob Green, our presidential historian, and Jim Kenyon, who is out at a polling place tonight. Voter turnout, Jim was saying in his last piece, was high. No surprise, really
no,
here, right?
No surprise. No surprise with the closeness of the race. No surprise with the expense of the race. No surprise because both candidates, if we're talking about Maffei and Burkle, both candidates benefit from a high voter turnout. It's not like one where you want to repress voter turnout in a mayoral election, get all the Democrats from the inner city. No, you want to make sure that all of your turnout is taken care of. Even Rosem has a very sophisticated, for this kind of a candidacy, get out the vote.
Good, good.
So I'm not surprised that voter turnout's high.
Let's bring in Jim Kenyon. Jim, you're at the polling place at Blessed Sacrament, and what have you seen? You've been there on and off for a couple of hours tonight. It strikes me as being pretty busy, a bit of a line there.
Well, you are right. In fact, I talked to one of the people in charge here, and I'm going to show you what it looks like right now. You've got people lined up, and they actually go out the door and almost into the parking lot. I'm told that it takes about a half an hour from the point where you enter the building to the point where you actually will be able to cast your vote. So the voter turnout is heavy, and I talked to Elections Commissioner Helen Kiggins earlier. She said this is what you would expect with a presidential race. You're going to get this kind of a turnout. She figures somewhere in the upper 70 to lower 80 percentile of the number of eligible voters who will actually show up here.
So high voter turnout, but Professor Green, is this an educated populace? Are people coming to the polls knowing?
Are they prepared?
Yeah, are they prepared?
Right.
And not even so much for the presidential candidates, but what about, for some of the local elections?
Probably not. Research tells us that most of the people who vote are better read than the general public. However, the general public is now more poorly read than at any other time in American history. And so we're not talking about a group of people who are going in and can be literate in what is in the daily newspaper. I mean, we've got troubles with daily newspapers as it is.
That's right.
As this starts, getting into the mindset of the American public, it's going to drive down voter turnout. And the ones who do show up are more from the top 1%, the better educated, the people who are more engaged in politics, the people who are more interested in politics, or the stakeholders themselves. It's the other 80% that I'm worried about. I mean, we're talking about people going to the polls, and when we're talking about high voter turnout, if Jim is saying maybe 50 or 60%, that's 50 or 60% of 21% of the VEP, of the voting eligible people.
Right.
So
it's not that big of a sample, as much as it could be if we did things maybe some other way.
No,
Bob, thanks for joining us tonight. He's going to be back with us throughout the evening on our election coverage here on NBC3. We look forward to his expertise and helping us guide our way through the evening tonight, especially when the presidential returns start coming in. We'll see how that electoral college unfolds. You can join the conversation on our Facebook page, also on the website at any time.
It's going to be an exciting night. And how's the weather shaping up?